In Joshua chapter 11, Joshua and the Israelites are about to go against the northern kingdoms, and God gave them the instructions. Don't be afraid of them. Don't be discouraged by how many there are, their size, their weapons, anything like that. Just go and attack, and by this time tomorrow, I will give them into your hands, and you're going to win. And then after those instructions were given, this is what happened. It says, so Joshua and his whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Merom and attacked them. And there's a really key word in there that I want to emphasize. The word suddenly. They heard the instructions, and suddenly they did it. They heard the instructions while they were still seeing the army and the big size, while they were fatigued from having fought all of the previous battles in the previous chapters. They went and attacked just like the Lord told them to, did exactly what he said, even though they didn't have as many weapons or the types of weapons that the enemy had. They acted in faith. And they did it suddenly. They took the Lord at his word, which is what acting in faith is. And they acted on it as if what he promised was going to happen. And in the very next verse, it happened. And the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them, just like the Lord said. Even though they didn't see that happening with their eyes, they were confident that it would happen because that's what the Lord said. They acted in faith, and they acted suddenly, without hesitation. It's important in battle, of course, when the Lord gives you particular instructions about battle, which the Lord has probably not given to you. But it's just as important for us to act in faith. And I'm going to focus on one particular area of your life where some battles might sometimes happen. Your relationships. Those are the ones where the things that make life sometimes really, really hard and much harder than you would like them to be. Often, the closer a person is to you, the more damage they can do to your heart, to your confidence, to your happiness. But the Lord gives us instructions when it comes to our relationships. And you might be familiar with these particular instructions, just some of the many instructions the Lord gives us when it comes to any relationship, where he says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It is not rude, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Those are the instructions that God gives us when it comes to how we're supposed to treat others. And it doesn't say, do these things if they've done a really good job of treating you well. Do these things if they've made your life really, really easy and if they've shown great appreciation for you. Do these things when they're really, really nice. It just says do these things. And sometimes that's hard, to be patient with those who are not patient with you, to be kind with those who are not kind with you, to hold no record of wrongs against those who have most certainly wronged you and hurt you. Following these instructions will require something. It will require acting in faith, believing that what God says will happen when you follow his instructions will happen. And there is something that he promises will happen when you put these things into practice. It's the very next verse. It's 1 Corinthians 13. That's where those words come from. Love is patient, love is kind. Those are verses 4 through 7. And then in verse 8, there are 3 words which are a promise from God. After he tells you to put love into practice by doing all these different things, it says, love never fails. And that's a promise from God, that he will not fail to care for you when you put his love into practice. He will not fail to give you all that he knows you need when you follow his instructions, even when it's really hard, and he knows it's hard to love. It was hard for Jesus to be patient on a cross, to be kind to those who were hurting him, to keep no record of wrongs against those who were killing him, whose sins were burdening him. But he did it. Remember, that was his choice to put the sins of the world on his shoulder. It was his choice to be patient and kind and loving, and to always persevere until the sacrifice was paid. And we were forgiven. And we were given the right to walk through life knowing that we are loved on our good days and our bad days, and we always will be. Even Jesus knows it's hard to sometimes put God's word into practice, his love into practice. But he knows we are always blessed when we do. Rest well tonight, my friends.